Let me know when you need them. I ain't need them. Man.
I think we ready. We've got 7 though.
Pretty much.
Time to go.
That's all it is, guys. It's gonna be a quick meeting. I ain't talking to you.
We have enough here?
Yes, sir.
Dominic, I ain't talking today.
I'll get it to y'all today. Here, I'll get out of here.
We're at the
All right, brother. I guess.
Don't need to do that.
Remember Miss Bowman?
Running for city council.
Jim, will you get the pledge?
Yes, sir.
Ellison's.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Go ahead and call the
Hey, hang on, I got it.
March 7th, 2013 regular meeting to order at this time.
Roll call, Mr. Dominic, Johnson, Williams, Lynn, Bowman, Baker, Lynch, Escaday, Thibodeau, Cox, Smith, Epperson.
Okay, we'll have the invocation by Commissioner Williams and the pledge by Commissioner Smith. Y'all rise.
Please. Come on, bow their head. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we pray for this meeting. Hope we conduct ourselves in an orderly fashion. Father, we pray for our colleague, Ms. George Bowman. We go out and pray with her today. We pray for all the members on this body. We pray for those that are not here, that are stuck in harm's way at the airports and at the hotel. Lord, I hope that you put your hands around the storm, protect the people as they come back home. Father, I ask God in His Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Turn and face the flag, repeat after me. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, take 5.
If we have any agenda additions,
I don't see any names, so move to citizens' comments this time.
yes, sir.
I do need to read, citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return it to myself or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. Citizens who wish to address the commission on matters relative to public hearings will be limited to a cumulative total of 15 minutes each. The first, we do have one card. Oh, Mr. Lee, Craig Lee. I don't see you over there. You're hiding. I was looking for you. How you doing today?
Being passed around the brochure from this year's 5th annual C.C. Antoine Black History Celebration, so I just want to go over that with you guys. And I'm Craig Lee, 1035 Eustis Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. We've concluded the first phase of our projects for the year, and I just want to give you guys an update as to what has happened thus far. We just concluded the 5th annual C.C. Antoine Black History Celebration. If you look inside of the brochure, you'll see all the events that we had from the 15th of February until February the 24th. On the 15th, we kicked off at Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church, where C.C. Antoine's gravesite is actually located. We have good news as it relates to that, because they are interested in working with us to help get a historic marker to show that C.C. Antoine is actually buried at the site. So we have State Representative Roy Burrell working on that project with us. We'll be bringing the other state legislators in concert with that to have a historic marker similar to what you see at First Methodist Church at the foot of Texas Street. That's pretty much what they would like to see out there. So you can mark your calendars for September the 6th. We're actually going to have the headstone rededication. We had a lively debate with our historian Gary Joyner about the importance of changing the headstone, which we had scheduled to do last year, but we wanted to hear some of the historic concerns from that. But we have decided that we will go forth in upgrading the headstone, since C.C. Antoine was Lieutenant Governor and State Senator and the incorporator of the city of Shreveport. We had a very good and productive event schedule this year that concluded on the 24th. And what we've also found out now, the thought that we were initially going to look to move the house, Gary Joyner did indicate that that really needs to remain intact for historic preservation on a federal level. And the good news is they do, Mr. Thibodeau, one of the questions you were asking a few years ago, the $300,000 that had been initially allocated is still available. Now, we're not in control of that, and Patrick Williams is basically trying to work some things out to get a independent group to monitor those funds so that that house can actually be upgraded. What we're actually participating on now, which involves the parish, since you guys have actually put the money up for the combined economic development department between the city and the parish, the big thing is the Choice Communities grant that they're pushing for, and that's in Commissioner Williams' district. And what we're basically working on with them is this C.C. Antoine piece, which actually helps to distinguish them from the other cities that's competing. So a lot has actually happened. They're going to get ready to submit their package in the next couple of months, and we already have invested in our actual master layout plan that we're going to probably bring to you guys within the next month, so you'll see exactly what we're pushing with. I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. And on September the 7th, which is the next day after we do the headstone rededication, we'll be having the 177th birthday celebration for C.C. Antoine and C.C. Antoine Park. Thank you.
Craig, I don't see anybody speaking, but I just want to tell you, I appreciate you coming here today and giving us an update on your project, which the commission has supported. It's nice to see someone come and give us an update and let us know where everything's going. So thank you for coming today. Oh, I do have a couple names just popped up. Commissioner Escaday?
Yeah, I just wanted to just comment you on the persistence in the work that you do, and I saw that on the 17th, y'all watched the movie Something the Lord Made. Did you realize that Vivian Thomas was originally from New Iberia, Louisiana?
Yeah, New Iberia.
And ended up getting an honorary PhD because, from Johns Hopkins, because he invented techniques that assisted and led to very critical, the first open heart surgery, basically.
Right.
So, Louisiana native, not just a part of Black history, but Louisiana native. Fantastic movie, but a true movie based on his life.
And also, John, Pursuit of Happiness that Will Smith played in, that gentleman there was also a Louisiana native. He's from Monroe. And so that's what we were trying to show in the film festival. Louisiana folks that have made a big mark and basically building in our cultural economy.
Well, I can't think of it. They go back on inventors of their time and all, but they were the first to touch the human heart.
Yeah.
And that was, look at how many people are saved. That's right. Nobody had ever cut on the heart.
Yeah, we had people crying in the movie.
Well, it's true, and that's what makes it nice. And it's Louisiana, so it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
One more. Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo what the historic and Commissioner Escaday has said. Been very
Black history, brother.
Been very transparent, and you've been very keeping us informed of the progress going on with this project. And we know that the cornerstone of that community has been the C.C. Antoine Park, and you're very knowledgeable what we're doing. So I appreciate you being informed with us, and keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll continue to support you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any more cards, and nothing has been turned in, so we'll move on to visitors.
We have no visitors, we have no special resolutions. We move to communiques and committee reports.
Okay, does anybody have anything? Just couple things I wanted to, first of all, remind you that, and to anybody who's listening, 6:30 tonight at the Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church at 5340 Jewella Avenue.
6 o'clock, I believe, isn't it?
6:30.
6:30 to 7:30? Okay.
Is a prayer vigil for Commissioner Bowman. So hopefully anybody can come out, or anybody's listening will be there to support this efforts and prayer vigil for Commissioner Bowman today.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I did see in the obituaries that Lloyd Valentine, who was a police officer with the sheriff's office, and
Yes.
he actually worked part-time here at Government Plaza, just passed away, so we need to keep him and his family in our prayers at this time. Does anybody else have any other communiques and reports? Mr. Lucky, you have one?
All I want to just remind you about our legislative luncheon in the morning, tomorrow, 11:30.
11:30 legislative luncheon at the Petroleum Club.
Yes, sir.
Also, the NGO committee will meet March 14th at 12 o'clock.
NGO committee will meet March 14th at 12 o'clock. Just Chuck, I see Chuck there, just wanted to give the animal control a kudos. The issue that happened up in Blanchard, I think it was on sundown that y'all went out, sent y'all an email, y'all went out there really, really quick. I think the person has until today to get everything up to code, so if that's not happening, just let me know or keep me informed. Okay, thank you, but y'all did a good job on that issue. Okay, Mr. Clerk?
Move to adopt the minutes of regular meeting held on February the 7th, 2013.
I move. Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Williams.
Mr. Smith?
Is it on, I don't see it.
Smith needs to vote.
Do what?
Mr. Smith needs to vote.
Jim?
Sorry. There it
Okay,
is.
that passes 8-0. Mr. Clerk, next item.
Next, we'll move to public hearing on zoning ordinances. Zoning case P-2112 in regard to ordinance number 5287 of 2013. Property located on the northeasterly side of Ellerby Road, 760 feet north of Gulf Ridge Drive, Castelluna Real Estate LLC. Applicant, Byron Trust, appellant.
Move to approve.
Oh, no, that's public hearing.
Public hearing, sorry.
We're having a public hearing at this time. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of this ordinance at this time? If so, you need to come forward. Is there anybody who wishes to speak against this ordinance? If you have one person, can you please come to the microphone and give us your name and address?
Yes, sir. My name is Byron Trust, 9450 Red Oak Lane, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. And the appeal was filed in my name on behalf of the Red Oak and Little Mike subdivisions, which are adjacent to Mr. Castellano's proposal. We spoke with Commissioner Cox, and we were under the impression that this had been postponed to the March 21st because we have another appeal on the site plan, and it's the neighborhood's wish to put these two together if that's okay with the commission.
Mr. Lucky?
All I can tell you is I'm sorry Mr. Cox is not here, but he had talked with me earlier in the week, and he did tell me that that's what he was going to propose at this meeting, but he's not here.
I think does anybody recall, it seems like he said something about that at the workshop.
He did.
Yes,
Yes, the neighborhood has a meeting with...
Hang on, sir.
This is the public hearing on the zoning
Okay.
case, so you have to go ahead and conduct the public
Okay, all
hearing
right, all
day.
right.
But I
We'll
know
have a
it was-
discussion in a minute.
I know it was Commissioner Cox's intention to, as of Monday, to make a motion that if y'all approved it, it would postpone a decision on his zoning case for 2 weeks until the zoning case and the site plan can be addressed at the same time.
That's right.
We'll move forward with the public hearing. Do you have anything else to say, sir?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Cox is meeting with the neighborhood this weekend in hopes to finding a solution between the neighborhood and the developer. You should have access to the petitions that have been filed by the neighborhood with the reasons we're against the zoning and the development. It's for the obvious. There are buildings down the street that are available for rent. We feel like the area, we would much rather have what's out there that's available be utilized instead of building something else. The traffic is a problem. in the way the development is being proposed is a problem to the neighborhood. We feel it's going to be detriment to our property values.
Okay, Mr. the Trust, do
Yes, sir.
you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right, you have a seat.
Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak against this ordinance? At this time, the public hearing is declared closed.
Move to public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5288 of 2013, repealing ordinance number 5281 of 2012, pertaining to proposed amendments to the Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter.
Does anybody wish to speak in favor of this ordinance? Does anybody wish to speak against this ordinance? Mr. Clerk?
Ordinance number 5289 of 2013, to revoke the dedication of a portion of Pines Road Extension in the parish of Caddo.
Does anybody wish to speak in favor of this ordinance? Does anybody wish to speak against? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
Ordinance number 5290 of 2013, to revoke the dedication of a portion of Pleasant Hills Road and Pleasant Hills Farm subdivision.
Does anybody wish to speak in favor of this ordinance? Does anybody desire to speak against it? Okay. Next item.
Ordinance number 5291 of 2013, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator designate to sell parish's tax interest.
Anybody desire to speak in favor of this ordinance? Does anybody wish to speak against it? Next item.
That'll conclude the public hearing on ordinances. We move to zoning ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5287 of 2013 regards zoning case P21-12. Property located on the northeasterly side of Elby Road. Castellina Real Estate LLC applicant, Byron Trust appellant.
Move to postpone to our next meeting.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Lynch.
Go ahead,
You got it. I have a motion by Commissioner Lynch and seconded by Commissioner Cox to postpone this to our next regular meeting.
Yes.
Okay. I see no discussion. We can all vote at this time. Okay, that passes 9-0.
Next, we'll move to ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5288 of 2013, repealing ordinance number 5281 of 2012 pertaining to proposed amendments to Caddo Parish Home Rule Charter.
So moved. A motion by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Thibodeau. See no discussion?
Wait,
Oh.
question. Point of order.
Okay.
What all entailed in this?
Okay,
Mr.
Commissioner Williams has a question regarding this ordinance. If I remember correctly, Mr. Grubb, and you may be able to explain it better, this is where we had placed it on the agenda to call for a special election, but we failed to call it, so we needed to amend that. Is that right?
Well, under the charter, if the commission proposes amendments, it has to call the election within, I think it's 90 days.
Right.
So subsequent to approving the charter amendments, y'all elected to not call the election, so it just seems to me to avoid a technical violation of the charter, the proposed amendment should be rescinded until such time as the commission decides to move forward with the election.
Until such time as we want to call the election,
Yes.
correct? Okay, Commissioner Williams, does that answer your question?
Not really.
Okay.
Probably need to get Attorney General opinion on it.
I got his address for you.
And probably, I think I like mine coming from the Attorney General opinion. Still didn't really answer my question. It's more like a bunch of rhetoric to me. But it still doesn't spell out exactly what we're voting on. There was so many, there were changes made from the committee. Are all those changes in this, because it's not in here? What are the changes?
Mr. Williams, based upon the recommendations of the Citizens Committee that's appointed every 4 years to review the charter, this commission in late last year voted to propose certain amendments to the parish charter. All of them were generally technical in nature, but they proposed the amendments. At the next meeting, when a resolution was presented to the commission to call the election, which would have been held at the time, I believe at the April election, the commission declined to call the election. The charter says that when the commission proposes amendments to the charter, it is required to call the election within either 60 or 90 days, for the election to take place within either 60 or 90 days. The reason I suggested this ordinance go on the agenda is because my perception is that the commission has no present intention of calling an election to present these proposed charter changes to the public. And since it's required in the charter to do so when it proposes the amendments, it just seemed to me the cleanest thing to do would be to repeal the ordinance that proposed the amendment, since the commission is unwilling to call the election, which means that at any time in the future you can propose those amendments, you can propose additional amendments, you can propose some of those amendments. You have complete discretion as to what amendments to the charter that you propose. The only thing the charter says is that when you propose the amendments, you need to go ahead and call the election.
So today, if we approve this ordinance, will we be calling an election or just?
You'll just be going back to base one. There'll be no proposed amendments there'll be no proposed amendments, and there's no election. As today, there's no election called.
Oh, thank you.
We passed the ordinance, we just never called the election, and now we're just doing away with the ordinance because the charter says we got to call it within 90 days.
Right.
That's it. Okay, I have no other speakers. We can all vote on this at this time.
Smith.
Jim, you need to vote.
Okay, that passes 9-0.
Ordinance number 5289, 2013, revoke dedication portion of Pines Road extension.
Move to approve.
Someone second.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Williams. I do have at least one speaker, Commissioner Lynch.
Yes, I had requested that we be provided information relative to who's making these requests.
I've got it for you. I didn't see it before you want
You
it.
all attach it like you do on the adjudicated property, that would be sufficient. Thank you.
On this particular one, it actually came from the Wiener Weiss Madison law firm by Jeffrey Weiss, representing the landowners, the Chandler family.
I will stay there, Jimmy. Got the next one coming. Got the next one coming up.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I guess this is not affecting, they own all the surrounding land, it's not going to affect any public road or no access?
There's no road there, and this is kind of unusual on this one, Commissioner Dominic, in that in the original right-of-way agreement that was executed back in 1988, the parish actually, or the police jury at that time, actually inserted language in the actual right-of-way document that said that if the road was not constructed within 5 years, that the parish would agree to relinquish all of their right to it.
Okay. Have no other speakers on the board? We can vote on this ordinance at this time. Still ain't, it's not picking you up, man. There you go. 9-0, that passes.
Ordinance number 5290, 2013, revoke dedication portion of Pleasant Hills Road and Pleasant Hills Farms subdivision.
Move.
Motion by Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Lynn. Have no speakers? Same thing?
Same thing. Although the right-of-way document didn't have any reversion language in it, this is being requested by the adjoining landowners. There's no road there.
Okay, that's my plain question. Okay, I have no other speakers. We can vote on this at this time. Now that passes 9-0.
Ordinance number 5291, 2013, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus. Authorized parish administrator designating to sell tax interest.
So move.
Okay, I got a motion by
The twin.
the twins.
Yeah.
Commissioner Williams makes the motion, and Commissioner Lynn seconds the motion. Have no one up at this time? No speakers, so we can vote on this motion at this time? That passes 9-0.
Next, we have a site plan appeal for introduction by title. Site plan appeal P21-12, property located on northeasterly side of Elby Road, 760 feet north of Golf Ridge Drive. Castle and Real Estate LLC applicant, Byron Trust appellant. Public hearing will be on March 21st. We move to ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance number 5292 of 2013, amending and reenacting Chapter 32, Section 57 of the Caddo Parish Code of Ordinances regarding the carrying of weapons in court facilities and parish buildings. Ordinance number 5293 of 2013, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell tax interests. Next, we move to work session minutes, March 4th, 2013, ratify the work session minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Williams. Second. Second by Commissioner Johnson. All those in favor, please vote. Nine zero, it passes. Next item.
We move to resolution number 8 of 2013, giving preliminary approval to the issuance of not exceeding $8,500,000 of general obligation refunding bonds of Caddo Parish, Louisiana, making application to the State Bond Commission for approval of said refunding bonds.
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Escaday.
Yes.
Okay, have one speaker, Commissioner Lynch.
Yes, I just need an explanation. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to call before.
Okay.
Who wants to do this?
This is just refunding to get lower interest rate on the first $10 million issue that we had on the $30 million issue. Is refunding the outstanding bonds of $8.5
Pick up,
million.
can hear you.
It's refunding the outstanding bonds of $8.5 million to get a lower interest rate. Tax savings, savings of about $400,000.
What was the original interest rate?
I think the original interest rate was close to 4.
4%?
Look, it was, I don't have the exact number. I can get you that.
Okay, and what are we doing, what are we looking at this time?
It's a sealed bid, so the current rates right now, the last bonds we issued, we got a little over 2, so we're hoping to get in that range, but we won't know until you open the bids on the day of the bid opening here.
Okay. So the 2.5 is what's left? Or how do we come to that figure?
That's what's left to be paid off.
What's left, okay.
That's
So
what
is
not
this-
what's
is
left
this
to
a
be
swap?
paid.
Is this a swap? What they call a swap?
No, this is not what's called a swap. This is a refunding. It's just like if you refinanced your home for a lower interest
Okay,
rate.
so it's like refinancing it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, and the 400,000, did you say?
Yes, ma'am.
That's going to go where? Where's that money?
You don't actually receive that in cash. What happens is you would,
Can
since
you
you would...
speak up? I know I'm getting older, but I can't hardly hear.
You would not actually receive that in cash. What happens is it would lower the amount of debt, the millage rate you would have to assess to the taxpayers in order to pay off those bonds. Because now we're paying less on the bonds than when we originally issued the bonds. At some point, you all would have to look at your millage rate and reduce that millage rate if that millage is bringing in, which it will be based on the reduction in these bonds and based on the fact that a debt service millage is not subject to a roll forward, so you would be collecting additional tax revenues. So you would have to reduce your millage at some point and charge the taxpayers less for in property taxes.
What's the earliest point that you think we could reduce the millage?
Well, we'll have to look at it. You have to adopt your millages every year. So for
It would be
prior to
sometime
this
year?
refunding, we estimated that the millage rate would be the same for 2013. But prior to the introduction of the ordinance to adopt the millages for 2013, we'll look at that rate. You have to adopt your millages this year, and you usually adopt them in May.
Okay, so let me ask you, this looks like it's going out, how many years is this?
It's still the same maturity. We're not extending the maturity. We're just getting a lower interest rate. I think
I
they're...
understand, but when you refinance, it starts over. What time is this? Is this 15 years or 20? What is it?
We're refinancing for the remainder of the maturity that was on the bonds. I think the bonds were 20-year bonds.
Okay.
And so whatever was left on that time frame is what we're...
How many years?
We're not proposing to extend the maturity date.
Okay, so we're already 6 years in.
Right.
Okay, so this will be for, what was the original? Was it 20?
I think it was.
I believe it was 20, Commissioner Lynch.
Okay. All righty, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Is that Commissioner Lynn?
Mrs. Bryant, could you restate that comment about lowering the millage rates to the taxpayers one more time, real loud?
Commissioner Lynn, each year we have to set the millage rate at the rate that's necessary to collect the principal and interest that's needed to pay on the bonds. You're not supposed to have more than 1 year's reserve in order to pay the bond. So if we are, based on what we're assessing the taxpayers, if it's more than, that's necessary to have 1 year's reserve, then the commission would have to either consider reducing that millage rate or considering issuing additional bonds to maintain the millage rate.
That's fantastic news. Thank you. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. See no other speakers? So we can vote on this at this time? That passes 9-0.
Resolution number 9 of 2013, request to repeal a state preemption of local firearm regulations.
Mr. Chairman, I'm asking that we postpone it to the next meeting.
Okay, it's been moved that we postpone that to the next meeting.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Escaday. We're going to postpone that to the next meeting. No speakers.
I'm sorry, why are we postponing it?
Commissioner Williams, can you speak to that?
I would like for the full body to be here, and there's people that probably want to speak, other commissioners that are not here. Only fair, whether go up or down, they ought to have their say.
I rushed back, didn't put my good wig on and all this.
All good. That's a good one.
That's more information I want to
Okay,
collect some
thank you, I
data.
appreciate it.
Okay, we'll vote to postpone that. All right, that passes 7-2. I did want to say one thing I forgot earlier to say that Administrator Woody Wilson and Commissioner Baker, I think Commissioner Epperson are all in D.C., and they were supposed to be back today, but because of the weather, they did not make it, but Commissioner Lynch flew on in quickly.
Who you know, God? God must count you the way here.
You got the Air Force
You got a good broom.
Set a plane for.
You got a good broom, go below the clouds.
Okay, we'll move on to our new business. Mr. Clerk?
New business, we have confirmation of Caddo Parish Administrator's salary adjustment increase.
So moved.
I got a motion by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Cox. If you remember, this did come out of the committee. So I have two speakers on that. Commissioner Lynch.
I just have one question. Is this 2% plus 3% merit, or is this 5% in addition to cost of living?
Includes, it's my understanding it's 5%. Not 7, it's just 5.
Okay,
You're right.
okay, thank you.
I know that question was brought up, but Commissioner Bowman had said it had been brought up, and she had mentioned it the other day. It was just overall 5%.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Thibodeau?
Yeah, I'd like to englobe all the confirmations under new business.
Okay, so I have a motion
Let's
to...
vote on the first one first. We got a motion.
No, including the first one.
Yes. Second. So we have a motion...
Well, we got to vote on the first, then you can go.
No.
Yes.
I think he made a substitute motion to englobe all of them, so we'll allow that. The motion has been made by Commissioner Thibodeau and seconded by Commissioner Lynn to englobe all of the items on the confirmation. I have a couple of speakers at this time. Commissioner Escaday.
Okay, the englobo is gonna, let me just state something. I was, not to be hostile or whatever, I'll be the only contrary here. I was going to vote against the increase for the administrator, not because I don't think that he deserves it. God knows he does. But 4% is what we approved for everyone else, and I think you lead by example. And I think it sends the wrong example. It's not some private company where the CEO is above everybody else, and his salary has been adjusted to what's a fair level, and he should have the same increase as everyone else. Not getting, and this is a personnel matter, so that's all I'll say. As far as the commission clerk salary, I was going to approve that because when we first put him in that post, kind of drew him back for him to prove himself, so I was going to support that. So if you englobo everything, I'm going to vote no. I don't want to vote no on anything but one. So, but anyway, but I'll go ahead and I'm going to vote yes, but I'll go ahead if you want to leave it in englobo. I just want it to be noted that I don't think anybody's salary increase should exceed that we do for everyone else.
Except for Commissioner Clerk.
Well, as I stated my reasons for that, Ms. Lynch, that we started him out slow. But like once again, I'll just refer back to my original statement. I think you lead by example. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but anyway, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lynch.
I would just request that on the englobo motion that all of the confirmations be read into the record. If we're going to englobo them at some point, if that passes, that they're read before we vote on them.
Okay.
I would move it. I mean, the only reason I wanted to englobe it was for brevity. It appears it's going to take longer to have everybody speak than to go ahead and vote on all
All
of
Todd's
it.
got to do is read them and we'll vote one time.
Okay,
He'll say
he has withdrawn his motion. It was, chair's understanding that Mr. Thibodeau did this because there was not going to be any, I guess everybody was going to pretty much easily vote on, but that's not happening. So let's go by one, starting with the first one. Can you reread that one, and we'll vote on that one, Your Honor?
Yeah, but I'm on the board to speak.
It's already on the floor. The first one's already on the floor.
First one's on the floor, so we're voting on the first one, the confirmation of the parish administrator's salary increase to 5%. Commissioner Williams is on the board at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of the 5%, and I think we have a dynamic leader under leadership of our parish administrator, we have received one of the highest over the years bond ratings. Nothing that, and he was leading by example. And also he has furthered his education and became a PhD. Probably one of the only PhDs in the state or in the country that runs a county or a parish. To me, 5% is not enough. Based on competitive salaries across this country, we got somebody at Port Auburn making $250,000 and got about 35 to 40 employees. This is an insult. To sit here and say that, I think is unfair. I'm excited about what this administrator has done. Dr. Woodrow Wilson, he has a tremendous dynamic super staff, and all the department heads are very competent. They lead by example. He don't micromanage them. They do a fantastic job. We got some of the best employees in this country. Probably can take this administration, run the city, parish, and the state. So to say that 5% to me is not enough for what this leadership is under his watch and what he's done. I wanted to take it up to 7%. Hopefully we can get him up to whatever the national average is for someone with a PhD and someone of a parish this size. He need to be making at least $200,000, at least that. He earned that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Commissioner Cox?
Mine's on further down the road.
Okay. Commissioner Lynch, did you need to speak?
What amount would this bring, if approved at the 5%, what amount would that bring Woody's salary to?
A little over 170.
That's what I,
Said
170, 172, something like that, if I remember correctly.
It'll be a little over 170. I don't have the exact, I'm estimating what the current salary is based on the 5%. It'll be right at the little over 170.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We'll vote on this item at this time. All those in favor, or vote one way or the other. You want to be the lone wolf like Commissioner Escobedo, you vote no. All right, that passes 8-1.
Confirmation of Caddo Parish Commission Clerk salary adjustment increase of 5% for the year 2013.
So moved. Second. Can I have a motion, Commissioner Thibodeau makes the motion and Commissioner Smith seconded. Commissioner Cox, this is not you yet, is it?
No.
Okay.
I want to speak on this.
What is that gonna bring that salary to?
This is the clerk.
If it's approved?
That would be about 97.
97,000? Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Williams, did you need to speak on this matter?
I just want to comment as well. You know, when I first arrived on the commission, my relationship with our clerk was not too well. We have increased our relationship to the point where we have a great understanding for each other. Not only has he shown me his leadership under in that position, also his staff and Jennifer and Vita does a fantastic job with 12 egos up here. 12 egos in other parishes in other counties. They have their own personal clerks and people work for them. To run a operation of this size with only 3 people has done a dynamic job. And now that you have people like myself, I'm a very active commissioner, very busy in my district, and it requires a lot of work and a lot of workload. I just want to say, I hope not only that he receives a 5% increase, but he will also look out for his employees as well, the 2 that serve under him. Make sure that they is also compensated for their time and effort as well. To work for this large group of men and women, you're doing a fantastic job. So I will be supporting this and hope that he also will do something for his staff as well. Thank you.
Okay, there's no one else on the board. We'll vote on this at this time. Okay, next item, Mr. Clerk.
Confirmation for reappointment, Mr. Harry Lowry to the Lakeview Waterworks District Board.
So moved.
Okay, second. Motion by Commissioner
Johnson.
Johnson, is that okay? And second by Commissioner Lynch.
LBJ. It's LBJ over there.
Remember the dance. Wake up. All right, no one speaking, we can vote on this. 9-0, that passes.
Confirmation for reappointment, Captain Thomas F. Murphy to the Caddo Port Commission.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Escalade, second by Commissioner Thibodeau.
Chairman, a question.
Yes, sir.
How many votes you need to pass this appointment?
I guess it would just be majority, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Jordan?
A majority of those present, yes, sir.
Majority of those present.
Okay.
I haven't counted the city's president.
I'm just gonna play a game.
Mr. Cox, you don't need to.
No.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
You're still on the board. If you press your button, it will come off.
The next. Right here.
Okay, we all vote?
I got a note over here that's not working too, so, you know.
It's not working. The machine?
That's, I guess.
All this high technology we got.
Yeah, we ain't
It works.
You pay how much for these machines up here?
We don't use those.
Okay, that passes 9-0.
Next, we have confirmation of appointment for Mr. William Charles Partain Jr., the Caddo Parish Fire District Number 6 Board.
So moved. Question. I have a motion by Commissioner Smith and seconded by, I didn't hear, Commissioner Thibodeau.
He woke up, yay.
Question?
Commissioner Cox?
Yeah. There was a question that was brought to me this week from Mr. McCain. He's in your district now. As far as the appointment of Mr. Partain, how did they come to this? Was there any other candidates? He's asking a question as far as, and he even made the statement when he was here, this is divided into 2 sections across from 2 different districts, but yet there's nobody from that representing that side of the district. So I would just like to, let people know that just because that fire district is mainly in one district, maybe they could look at some other ones, but if Mr. Partain was voted in and I was doing a confirmation, that's fine. But
okay,
there were some questions brought up.
I have a couple of commissioners, but I don't know how you could be in 2 districts.
It is.
It is. It's in Mr. Smith and my district.
Oh, okay, it's in 2 commission districts. Okay, I understand, okay. I thought you were talking about 2 fire district.
No, two commissioners.
Okay, Commissioner Smith?
Some of you are familiar with it. Mike and I have met with both of these people, and Mr. Partain happens to live right in front of the fire district over on the other side of the district there. He lives right in front of the fire station. And he's probably Mr. Fire District over there because he comes and mops the floors and does a little bit of everything else. And I am aware of the other gentleman wanted to be on there, and as Mike is aware of it too. We have met with both of the people.
Okay. Commissioner Thibodeau, do you have anything?
Yeah, Mr. Partain couldn't be any closer to the station on Linwood unless he lived in the station. So he's at Linwood and Ricky Drive, so that's, we just felt he was the better choice at this time.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No one else on the board? We'll vote on this at this time. If there's nothing further, do I have a motion to adjourn? Please, Commissioner Williams? Standing job. I started to say before the meeting you did a good job.